Hey everybody, my name is Sal and I'm here with Thrity, and I just wanted to ask you a couple questions about your project. Is it a foundation?
The name of this project is Tropic Ventures Research and Education Foundation. It's a sustainable forestry and rainforest enrichment project, and we are based here in the south of the island, southeast of Puerto Rico, in Patillas.
Patillas. I thought this was Guavate because we came through.
No, this is the municipality of Patillas.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, my question, I have several. Like, what sparked this interest in you to study and make this your life passion? Preservation of the rainforest.
Well, my background. I started working with the people who started this project. Over 35 years ago now, the Institute of Ecotechnics, and I met a group of people in London who were part of this institute, and the moment I met them, I knew I'd met my tribe. And one of the first things I did was join a project in London, which was a trans-vanguard art gallery, and then from there I went to the next project, which is a marine vessel, a ship called the RV Heraclitus, that is a Chinese junk that has been floating around the oceans of the world for almost 45 years now. And I joined that ship at the beginning of a coral reef research expedition.
Can I ask you one question? Chinese junk?
A Chinese junk is a Chinese design, a very safe boat, a sailing boat, 82 foot by 20 foot, not a very big vessel. And anywhere between 14 to 7 on a crew.
Okay.
So I spent 3 years on an expedition studying coral reefs, and really the epiphany was, as I became slowly an expert in coral reefs, I realized I didn't know anything about terrestrial ecology or trees or anything. And here we were studying coral reefs, which are the rainforests of the seas, because they provide food and all kinds of benefits for the planet, let alone humans. So when I came back to land, I went to work with the founders of this project, the Institute of Ecotechnics, who started a ranch in Santa Fe, New Mexico in the 60s.
Wow.
So they have a ranch there that they literally turned from a desert into an oasis. They had planted over 500 fruit trees. And so on my arrival there, it was the late 90s, 98. So I started co-managing the orchard there, started learning about tree care, pruning, manuring, pest management, and finally picking and marketing and selling the fruit at markets and to restaurants all over Santa Fe. And over a period of 4 or 5 years, we really got that harvest into big numbers for the ranch, and it was a really great accomplishment. And in that time, I started coming back and forth to this project, which had been set up in the early 80s, hot on the heels of another expedition of the ship, which I wasn't on. This was before my time. The ship had gone up the Amazon on an ethnobotanical survey. So when the crew arrived in Puerto Rico, their overarching aim was to find land and start a sustainable forestry project. And really one of the phrases or little buzz things that we have is to do something necessary that's not being done. And at that point, and even now I would say, sustainable forestry is very necessary and not being done.
Can you explain a little bit about what it is, sustainable forestry?
So, the crew came here having seen and witnessed the effects of deforestation on water, on people, ultimately loss of biodiversity. When you lose your forest, you lose biodiversity. So this project, the idea was, how do we use land and leave it better than we found it? How do we use land and protect the water?
Yes.
So this land is 1,000 acres, which is very unusual in Puerto Rico. And a lot of it is steep and inaccessible, and the best thing to do with this land is to just leave it alone and let the trees provide the services that trees provide, which is ultimately water protection. And we've got 3 watersheds on this land, So of the 1,000 acres, we are only managing for forestry, and that could include anything from growing trees, harvesting trees, making a road, doing scientific research, studying frogs, lizards, vines, birds, etc. Any kind of human disturbance, we only do within that 300 acres. The rest of it is left as wilderness zone. We don't do anything with it. And two of the main watersheds, the Omega Valley and the Ikako, exist within this land. So really the best thing to do is just leave it forested for fauna, flora, and limited scientific investigation for endangered species.
Right. So one of the things that I really like that I heard is that you guys use all the wood that from fallen trees to make furniture and do any kind of tables.
So before Hurricane Maria in 2017, that was 5 years ago now, we had a fully operational business going here in tandem with volunteers coming and helping us with tree planting, tree work, scientific investigation, data collection, etc. We had a working wood shop, sawmill, and we were milling, drying, marketing, and selling wood. A lot of the furniture that you see around you is made from the woods that we had. After Maria, we went into salvaging wood that had fallen out on the streets. These were older trees, bigger trees, like 3 or 4 foot in diameter, mahogany trees, almond, pterocarpus trees. And so we literally made a new business and moved it off this property, and now we have a wood yard in Caguas called Puerto Rico Hardwoods, and we are still milling, selling wood from the hurricane.
Do you guys actually develop the furniture according to people's specifications, or do you just...
We will within reason, work with people's ideas and make them things, yeah. And then we do a lot of live edge tabletops, benches, those kinds of things. It's such beautiful wood. It's hard to cut it into a plank when you have beautiful edges.
And it's kind of like recycling a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
nobody should be wasting wood anywhere. And Puerto Rico should be using its own wood. It should be growing its own wood to help stop deforestation in other countries. Puerto Rico imports a lot of exotic hardwoods and a lot of pine. And even though after the hurricane there was a lot of pine planted 30, 40 years ago, nobody uses the pine.
Yeah.
So even here we had a lot of pine fallen after the hurricane, and were not able to sell very much of it, which is a shame. It would have been better that we had planted hardwoods rather than pine in those areas anyway.
So what do you mostly feel passionate about within the whole project? Because there's different goals within the project. You know, you're studying, collecting data, preserving animals, and
I think the main thing is to make people
because you're also educating.
Yeah.
We didn't touch that. Can you explain that a little bit? Because there's people coming here all the time.
Well, this project was set up as the whole of the Institute of Ecotechnics is set up with projects for people to learn how to do things, learning by doing. How did I learn how to study coral reefs? Oh, well, I went out on a ship, became a diver, learned how to study reef.
Awesome.
How did I work with trees? I came to a project with trees and started learning how to identify, learning about wood, learning about everything to do with wood production, timber.
So you're acquiring your education through experience.
By doing, yeah, exactly. There's, and that at the time I joined this project, there wasn't Google, so we had to actually read. We actually had to pick up a book and read. So we do, we have volunteer groups come through here, and
so these volunteer groups are schools?
School groups, high school groups, college students.
From the United States?
A lot from the United States, some from Puerto Rico, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts come through every so often. And basically what we do, whatever's happening here at the time, dependent on weather, kids, students, adults, whoever's volunteering, gets to work on keeping this homestead alive, working the trails, because if people don't come into a forest and have somewhere comfortable to be, they may not take that longer walk. They may not see that beautiful butterfly, and they may not fall in love with forests. The goal here is to make people fall in love with forests so that they are the future stewards of the forest. So to go back to sustainable forestry, it's really important that Puerto Rico stops aiding in the deforestation of other countries by growing its own wood. Puerto Rico can grow mahogany, can grow bulletwood, el subo, it can grow grenadillo, pterocarpus, all of these woods which are internationally really coveted woods. And it was quite shocking after the hurricane that so much of the wood got destroyed because of just ignorance.
Yes. So education is one of your passions, so that people are able to fall in love with the forest and really get an interest to preserving and utilizing.
Yeah, and another project that we have ongoing right now after the hurricane, we lost a lot of trees, saplings, very rare, endangered, and a whole collection of young trees in the hurricane. That was very devastating for me personally, because that was like 15 years of my life work was just gone. So anyway, we got a grant from Naples Botanical Garden to build, in Florida, to build a new tree nursery, and then hot on the heels of that, we got a grant from the Botanical Gardens Conservation International, who run the Global Tree Campaign. And so they have supported us now for the last year, this year, and into 2023 to survey for rare, critically endangered tree species. So what we're doing in the nursery is we have found 2 of one of our target species and about 70 of the other species, and the idea is to try to propagate them in the nursery and increase the population and try to work towards preservation of those species. Yeah.
Yes.
And so every time we go out and we do a survey, we are adding to the list of our known species that we have here, and adding constantly, finding the species that we didn't know that we had here in all of the surveys that we do, and then trying to find, see what we can find. And when we come across our target species, it's quite heartening.
That's beautiful. I love the whole concept. I think it's just amazing to educate about, and having people experience, and they can come here. And you actually have an Airbnb, and I love the name. What's it called? It was
A Lovely Room in the Rainforest.
A Lovely Room in the Rainforest, which I stayed in last night. I slept like a baby. I don't want to leave. And, it's just a wonderful experience. The rivers here are beautiful. The trees are beautiful. The morning, the animals, everything is just incredible. And is there anything that you would want to exhort people? They should come and visit and learn about forests, but also you want them to plant trees. Yeah.
But also, planting trees means that we need trails. We need people who like to build trails, who know how to build trails. And even if you don't know anything, you can learn. And most of the trails that we have are kept going by people who come here and do a little bit at a time, a little bit of drainage, building a step, making a little bridge across a little culvert or something. So having a trail is really important. I never really realized how important having a trail is.
So that's cool. So we need trail makers. And I think...
And no skills required.
No skills required, right.
You can learn everything here. And the thing is that if you're outdoors, then you take a break, then you notice something else.
It's beautiful.
It's a
and
great
the
way to be
kitchen here is wonderful. The food's excellent. I mean, everything is... it's just the best place. I love this place. And now I'm like getting into the... reforestation and all that.
And so if we're going to do reforestation...
Like for him, I was invited here by Kevin, and it sparked an interest in me, and I came back voluntarily to be here because I love this place, and that's what we wanted people to experience, right?
And also, when we talk about reforestation, we need the trees that we're going to plant. Somebody actually has to grow those trees. So all over the island, there are pockets of people growing trees for reforestation. But we also have to think, what kind of trees do we want for our future?
Right.
And my particular goal is to make this a hardwood, good, valuable hardwoods, because all trees that are not pines and conifers are hardwoods. but valuable hardwoods like mahogany, like blue maho, like alsubo, and to make this forest here, a resource in the future for building materials.
Right.
And encourage people who have land at different elevations. You can grow different types of trees that have valuable woods. If we're going to plant trees, let's plant things that are going to also assist our lives in the future. Climate change is only going to become a greater thing in our future. It's going to affect us more and more. Shipping to the
But you're actually in the trenches of what climate change. I mean, you're really putting in an effort.
Trees,
and you've been here for 20 years.
22 years.
22 years, passionately serving the planet. And I just wanted to thank you for that service and for your passion and for inviting us here. And I wanted to also exhort everybody to, you don't have to go very far to enjoy nature and to enjoy the planet. And here in Puerto Rico, in Patillas, you can come, and the rooms, you have bunk beds.
We have
How many people can come?
We have 2 bunkhouses, which sleep 10 people each. We have a cabin, we have a room with a bathroom, and another cabin which is getting prepared for 2 volunteers. And then we have tenting. People want to
tenting.
Tent.
Yes, I saw the tents.
And
it's
as
amazing.
long as it's not raining too heavily, we can always do that as well.
That's amazing. So if you're looking for an adventure and a really beautiful time, I'd recommend you to come here and visit. What's the name of the
website is iontherainforest.org.
iontherainforest.org. That's beautiful.
And my name is Thrity.
Thrity, thank you so much. I love this place, and I'm looking forward to coming back every day. All right, once a week or twice a week. Let's see. Anyways, I love it here. And thank you. Share the video so people learn a little bit more about this project and come and visit us as soon as you can. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Good.